Schedule a Zoom with me at GCExperts.com/Zoom.
Hey, good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Scott. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here, Sean. Been looking at your stuff for a while now.
Well, tell me what you learned.
So I guess I'll rewind the tape and tell you last year, well, I rewind it even further. I'm a catering company and I'm also a veteran, and I went online on Sam in the wonderful process. I got my company in the SAM system. I don't know how the hell I did it, but I did it. But so I did it on my own, and I posted on a couple of catering events, and it seemed like I was just wasting my time. Like, all the shit that you need to submit, and then crickets, you don't hear nothing. So then I also was in a state program, and I got a little more action on state, but I can't tell you how many hours I put in it, and I got nothing but wasted time, basically. So since then, my SAM expired, or the 1 year expired. So I've been doing
Yep.
my catering business has been super busy, but this time of year it's not so busy, and I'm always got that itch to give it another shot. I seen your video last week with the gentleman from Texas, the contractor, and you said something in there that really kind of stuck. Where you said, you and your dad went to NORAD, or you were in, and that I some of these jobs I read, I'm like, oh shit! One of them was like catering for in France for like the anniversary in Normandy, something like once in a lifetime type stuff that that's gets me excited about thinking about wrapping my head around doing large events like that, and just being a part of that. To say I've been inside there, or I did that, or I it's interesting to me, and there's so many different aspects of the of government contract and housekeeping, and I seen the program that you and your dad put together, where it just takes, I could spend all day writing it down and send an email, and then I guess at the end of the day, you only get to the point where you put all that out there and then you don't get anything back. It's like, I feel like you're just wasting your time. um so anyway,
And a lot of people are. In fact, I have evidence of that, like publicly available evidence.
yeah,
So you talked about your SAM registration needing to be renewed.
yeah,
So right now, you are not part of the numbers that are in the system.
right,
So if you Google how to become a federal contractor, it overwhelmingly says you have to be SAM registered. And some people figure it out and get SAM registered, but then they go, okay, I'm registered. Give me all the contracts. They don't know what it takes to get a federal contract.
correct, right,
Well, one of my guys went through my program, called me up Monday morning. He said, Sean, I don't care if the number's 25,000, 14,000, or 50,000. What's the number today? I said, well, that's public information. I'll get back to you in a couple hours. So I get with my guy. He goes and looks it up. He comes back and he says 23,780. And I said, great. And he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean, whoa, whoa, whoa? He said, there's an interesting number here. Okay, tell me about it. He said, of the last 70,000 contracts, they were awarded to only 3,000 of the 23,780. And I burst out laughing. Why are you laughing? I said, that's the whole reason GCExperts exist.
right.
People like Scott go figure out how to get SAM registered, don't know what to do. What's the likelihood that they're going to renew next year? Probably pretty low.
Right.
And so that's why the number's not cumulative. When I say it's 25,000, I've seen it as high as 27,000. I've seen it as low as 22,000, but on average, it's about 25,000 every year.
And you're saying that number is people that enter into this, you know,
No, I'm saying that's the total number of registered federal construction contractors is about 25,000 year to
okay,
year. New
yeah,
people come in, other people fall out,
all right,
but if you don't renew it, you're not part of that
yeah, right.
25,000.
You were in and now you're out, right?
That's right.
You're right. Yep. And do you guys do I know construction is your main thing, but
I'll tell you this, it's interesting that you said cater.
hmm
The most successful clients in my program today and have been in my program for 10 years were caterers prior to coming in.
hmm
Now, I don't want to suggest to anybody that, it's my program that made them as successful as they are. Like they were super successful caterers looking for another business opportunity,
hmm
came into the program. These guys, within 90 days of signing up, had already completed 10 contracts and put $250,000 in the bank.
Well,
Two of the smartest business guys I've ever met. So
mhm.
I never want to say that this is results typical, but it just so happens they were caterers before coming
Yep.
in the program. But you're right. I focus on construction. Now it's not that you can't take what we teach about construction and apply it to a different area of the federal sector. Of course you can. A
Right.
federal contract is a federal contract is a federal contract.
Sure.
But I would never want to suggest that, you as an example come into the program and I'm going to teach you how to get all the catering contracts.
Yeah, right.
That's just not my forte.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's so many, options to that, whether it be setting up, you know, running the food service for a base, or you come in and doing
Yeah, yeah,
catering
but
for,
listen, what you're telling me is I have a hammer and so I'm looking for a bunch of nails.
yeah,
Okay. And what I'm telling you is that, I hate to burst your bubble, but what if the catering job is in Washington? What state are you in?
Massachusetts.
Okay, well, you got that Boston accent. I should have answered that for you.
Yeah.
Um, but what if the job's in LA? What if the
Mm.
job's in Arizona? Are you just not going to bid on it because that's not your catering area? Okay,
No, well,
look,
yeah, right. I mean, it's definitely, you got to look at the scope of the project to determine if it's worth your time. And like I bid on this one job and I thought I had it. I was like walking on a cloud. It was like 10 days at a air base in Florida to feed 100 people. And and this, I'm sure you hear this too, is they don't tell you what they just give you the information, you give them the price, and then you go back and look. And I knew anyway, I just threw $100 ahead times 100 guys times 10 days, and was like, wow, this is a great event. So then I started figuring, well, I'll put my guys down that were staying in a hotel. I started operationally working it out in my head. But the contract went to someone, I think, after the fact, I was interested in it, and I found, and that's the other thing, you don't know, you got to work backwards to say, oh shit, they must have got $95 ahead, and I went in at 100. But I guess that's the nature of the beast. If you know,
but listen, what you should have done is called a local catering company down there,
yeah,
okay, and said how much ahead, and they might have said $50,
mm,
okay, and then you turn your bid in for 75,
yeah,
and then you just manage the whole thing. See,
right,
that's the problem with the thinking of the common person coming into federal contracting is I do X, and so I'm looking for keeping my people busy. I don't
yeah,
give
right,
two shits about your people. You
yeah,
shouldn't either. They're just
right,
a tool for you to make money.
right,
Okay. Now,
right.
listen, I don't mean that personally, like if
No,
it's your brother
I
working for the
understand what you're
company,
saying, right,
but the whole idea is getting as many federal contracts everywhere that you can and being the middleman between
right,
what they're trying to accomplish and the people who actually do that work.
mm, yeah. And then I guess that's a whole nother can of worms for the subcontracting and the paperwork that goes
Well,
with
that's
that.
my specialty.
Right. Right. And pretty much all contracts can be subbed out, or you can have a third party doing them, or each one is specific to.
The federal government never expects that when I win a federal contract that I'm going to go out there and hold a hammer in my hand.
Yeah.
Okay. They're
Hmm.
looking for me to manage the contract. You
Yeah.
build trust with them to
Hmm.
manage contracts, and then they understand that you're going to be using subcontractors to do the trade work.
Yeah. Yeah. And just for an example, would you be out there watching them do it, or you just give them the ball and say,
I mean,
don't
look,
fuck it up? And
food is not my specialty. And
sure.
so to answer your question, yes, I would go out there to see one of these things come together just because I'd be learning something, and all learning is good.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, in federal construction contracts, most of everything I've built for the federal government, I never went and saw with my own two eyes. But I
Right.
did, as an example, go to NORAD because I wanted to go inside
Yeah.
NORAD.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I went to San Clemente Island because
Yeah.
nobody gets to go out and watch the SEALs learn how to fire and blow shit up. And,
Yeah. Right.
I wanted to see that. And the F
Right.
18s and the F 14s landing on the runway at night, practicing aircraft carrier landing. I mean, there's some things that the federal government does that
Right.
you, as a private citizen, don't get to see. But as a
Sure.
federal contractor, you can be put into some unique situations, and that's really fun.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So in addition to getting my business registered with Sam, I also went through the small business and got veteran owned small business, which I figured, oh, great, my phone will be ringing off the hook now.
Yeah, it turns out, look, if you ask me a true false question, is it better to be VOSB or SDVOSB? Yes, that's true.
Uh-huh.
In today's world, it was a big deal 30 years ago, but it's getting less and less. And you're right, your phone's not ringing.
Right. Right. And then with that being said, there's uh another company that I was looking at, and it's saying, oh, we can definitely get you disability status. I guess all you really need is 10% to be considered disabled, which brings it to a whole different can of worms for,
I don't
you know,
really know.
disabled veteran small business.
Yeah, I don't really know about that, like what
Right.
it takes to get SDVOSB. But I just know that, look, that's 3% of the sandbox. Okay.
Yeah.
3% of the federal contracts are going to go to veterans.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with the other 97%? And what
Right.
happens is a guy like you hears about veteran owned, another guy hears about veteran, and it gets super saturated. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're all fighting over this small percent of federal
Yeah.
contracts. Whereas in open firm fixed price contracts, there's way less competition.
Right. Right. But and then I guess some places do what, they have to, by whatever the rule is, a percentage of their deals have to go through veteran companies, or is that kind of a myth too? Like when you read the contracts, it says like set aside small business, set aside
Mm-hmm.
veteran, or
It can
um,
be both.
yeah, right. It can be both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So so like I said, I was really into it, and I because my business has been busy, but I always look at different revenues, and one of them was not so much the catering as the prepared food. They call it mermite meals, whereas to sell bulk without having to worry about the logistics of everything, of getting, a third party in it, where I could, sell to the government versus,
Look, I don't want to discourage you going down this journey. I really don't. I
yeah,
think that it's honorable and a good use of people's time to serve our federal government in any capacity.
sure.
But I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to just dig deep into yourself. You know what it took to get where you're at today.
Yeah,
If I wanted to start a catering business tomorrow, could I start a catering business?
sure.
Yeah. What's the barrier to entry?
What's the barrier to entry? Well, I mean, you know, you got to have a product that people want. You got to have,
Can't I go to the local restaurant, buy their food, walk in and say, we're catering?
I guess. I mean, you'd pay wholesale. You would pay.
Maybe I negotiate a better deal. Hey,
Yeah,
give me cost plus 5%. Let me get in the door with these people, and then we can talk about margins later.
right.
Couldn't
Yeah,
I do that?
sure.
Okay. I would never want to be in a business where the barrier to entry is anybody can do this.
Mm. Well, I mean, if you're throwing it out like that, anyone could do anything if you put your mind to it and get down to it. But
I
most
don't know. I
most
mean,
people are
think
not.
about construction.
Yeah,
Tell me about how many square of roofs there are over your head right now.
yeah. Well, I,
You
I
don't
do have
know that you've
experience in
never,
construction. I could
but
bullshit
but
my way
you
through.
well, except that you can't bullshit knowing what a square is. How
Yeah,
many square of roofing are there? In other words, there's a vocabulary to construction,
you're
and
right.
that in and of itself
Yeah,
is a barrier to entry.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to speak the language. And
There's a
I would say that most trades have a language that if you know the language and you're speaking to someone who doesn't, it doesn't take you long to figure out that
That's right. People
they're
can
full of
figure it
it.
out pretty quick.
Right.
Okay. And so look, the construction business, there is inherently a barrier to entry because in most cases, construction equals risk. The
Hmm.
government is trading the risk to you in exchange for dollars.
Hmm.
And we in construction take on that risk. And so, look, I'm biased, right?
Sure.
Because my entire career, I was in the construction game and only with the United States federal government. And so that's why I said you kind of have to look inside yourself on this one.
Right.
What's the best use of your time for the rest of your life? What
Right.
limited time we all have left.
Yeah.
And look, I already made my mark. I made all the money I'll ever need in federal government construction contracts. The
Hmm.
reason that I'm not kicking you off this Zoom is because I don't qualify people for my Zooms. I'll talk to anybody about federal contracts. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Is
Yeah.
has have conversations like this. Um, but that said, I'll answer any question you want to know.
Right. Right. All right. I mean, like I said, I've been following you guys. I'm sure you probably got a track. I mean, it's been a year, and I look at most of the stuff, and I obviously I know you guys know what you're doing in that program that you guys developed. I mean, that's the golden goose right there. Is that you can plug in what you're looking for, and it all puts it in a nice package. Right then that's worth the price of admission in my mind because I know, like I said, I did it for a year it's like anything. I think you need to get your feet wet and you're going to constantly be learning and thinking about how it works. And it's like, you know, I don't know. So I guess, that's kind of where I am right now, I guess. Um, sure. But, so if you give me the 411 for your thing, it's the or is it even something that you would even consider looking at where I'm not in construction?
Look, I'll tell you, about 5, 6 years ago, my merchant account where they charge the credit cards.
Yeah.
They contacted my team. I get on the phone with them and they say, "Hey, we want to know your refund policy." I said, "Well, it's right there in my terms. Just go in there and it says the refund policy." They go, "It needs to be more prominent than that." And I went, "I got no problem with that. I'll put it right on the homepage of my website. Will that make you happy?"
Mm.
So, right at the bottom of my homepage, it says our refund policy. It says, if you go through the workshop and you call me up right after you're done and you say, "That's dumb, you're full of shit, and
I
you're
want my money
crazy,
back.
I want my money back," I will burst out laughing and I'll give you your money back.
Get out
Like
of here.
nothing that I do in life is, you know, is about money at this point in my life.
Mm. Yeah.
I really want to help people. And so that's why I made it so obvious right there on the bottom of the page. And I'll just tell you the same thing I've told other people. If you go through my stuff and you think it's not for you for no reason or any reason, just tell me you want your money back. I'll give it to you.
Mm. Yeah.
This is being recorded. You can
Right.
call me out on it.
Right. No, I mean that ain't my style. And to be honest, if I went through all your training, it's like in my analogy, you eat a sandwich and there's one bite left, and you go, "Oh, this is no good. I want my money
Yeah.
back." I'm gonna say, "Oh yeah,
I,
well, too bad. I'll give you the 10% of your cost back that you didn't eat. You,
I run into that all the time. There's always a hole in my beard.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah. It's I have that. It's funny you should use that example. It's on my website in big bold print on the bottom because I deal with I do a lot of weddings, so they're a pain in the ass. Go up, go down, go left, go right. No, go back where we started. And
Yeah.
it's time and effort. It's the nature of the beast. But at the end of the time, when they give me that deposit, and then they turn around and they do that bullshit with someone else, and they're 5 cents cheaper, and they say we want my money back after you, I said, well, you can't have it back. It's too late because you wasted
Yeah.
my time. But what I say is it's a credit for future events. And um, fortunate I've never had to go to small claims court over it. But if you give me a deposit, I'm locked in. And then you can say, for me, it's a date. So I say, if I had to go in front of the judge, I say, well, I turned down other business
Yeah.
because
I
I,
got no problem with that. I think
right.
that's
You know what I mean?
perfectly
It's an
reasonable. Yeah.
expense. And I can show them emails because everything's in email and so you can
Sure.
build a case for yourself. Whereas you probably could do the same thing. I mean, that's that's a great policy. I understand why you do it because then people are more, uh, everyone's suspicious they're going to get screwed. So that's the whole.
Well, that's why I haven't put it on, always put it on a credit card. So you can call your credit card company and back charge me if for some reason I tried to pull some stupid shit. But
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
I've never had a problem with anybody. I always say that, first of all, I've been in this for 15 years. Nobody's ever asked for their money back. Once you go through my training and you
right,
start applying it, there's no reason to ever ask for your money back.
right.
But that's why I say if you call me, I'll laugh because
Yeah,
for heaven's sake, I want the evidence that somebody asked for their money back. I'd love to post that up on my website and say, here's the first guy right here.
yeah, right, right. Okay. All right, man. Well, so what is your process? So how do you,
You'll get a text message after this Zoom that says pleasure talking to you. And if you
yeah,
want to follow the next steps, you can follow the next steps. If
okay.
not, look, there's no pressure. You're not going to get a phone call from my team tomorrow saying, "Hey, you talked to Sean. Give us your." There's
Yeah,
nothing like that in anything I do.
yeah. And I saw on the last video you were saying your wife charges 700 to fill out all the damn SAM paperwork,
Yeah, get you fully registered. Yep.
and that's the same whether it's renewing or a new one because it's basically you got to go through the same paperwork,
I
or is it?
think it's a little less if it's a renewal. Just text me on that line and I'll get you in touch with her.
Yeah, no, I haven't looked at what it entails to renew it. The state still said I think the federal is a year, and then Massachusetts for whatever reason is longer than that because I still get the I still get emails for different, state, of state contracts I still get, but, and then I guess, I mean, that's open to, in New England, like they set, it was at, the hell was it called? Apex or,
Sure.
yeah, I think it's Apex, right? Or it
Yep.
used to be a different set of initials, and then they changed it to Apex. But you gotta love the military acronyms. It's something. But anyway, that being said, they put me in New England, so I see like, more military bases in Maine and here and there, But but anyway, I appreciate your time, Sean, and I'm sure you got a bunch of other shit going on. I'm looking at my list. I sat down with the holiday. It's a weird time. I go like crazy right up until Christmas, and then that day, like Christmas to today, people are in like, I don't know, limbo. They don't respond to email. They don't want to do any of that shit. So I got, I don't know, 3 pages of people I got to get back to, and menus sent and all that. But I'll look forward to the text message, and I like I said, I appreciate your time, and I love looking at your videos and what you and your dad have done, and it's definitely great, man.
I appreciate you saying that.
Sure, sure. How's the weather in Bushy Creek, Texas today?
That's about a 1 in 20.
Yeah,
that that that's when I really know somebody's been watching my stuff.
yeah, yeah. I a company I work for, they flew me to Addison, Texas, to learn how to make pizza. One of the locations I ran was a Pizza Hut, and so they flew me into Addison, and I couldn't wait to get out and explore. So I get in the hotel room, and I got my running shoes. Like, I'm gonna just go for a jog and see. I'm like, this friggin' no pedestrian traffic in Texas. I mean, it was right near Dallas. No sidewalks, no nothing. Like, nobody walks around out there. And
Yeah, it's not like I went to high school in New Jersey, so I'm quite familiar with the
yeah,
upper northeast of the country. Yeah.
yeah, right. But I
And I
had,
lived west of Boston for a year at Natick.
oh, no kidding, sure, yeah.
Yep, there's a naval facility there. We built a big environmental chamber for them out there around
So
1998.
Natick Soldier Base, I think that is. They do. I've actually done catering on that base before. The morale, welfare, or maybe
Yeah,
it could be in.
no, it is an army base, but I think they have a naval research center
Oh, on the same base.
on the same base. It's where they were testing clothing before it goes into production.
Yeah, for yes, yep, yep. I've actually did a couple of events on that base. And matter
Yeah,
of
and
fact,
then
they did
on the
it.
weekends we went to Framingham,
Yeah,
which I didn't know because I was a big fan of Bose headsets at the time. They're based out of Framingham.
yeah. It's a good
Yeah,
product.
beautiful area.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good product. Yeah, that's north. I'm south of Boston. Every
Okay.
everyone that's from that area, they say North Shore, and everyone else says no, it's called Not Shore. It's like it's a running joke. But good stuff.
Yep.
But all right, buddy. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it, Sean.
Yeah, you bet. Take care.
Yeah, happy New Year's to you.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.